Right. Uh, Welcome everybody. Sun and good policy. There is a sparkle like Mr. Buddha. Well, he's not like a human creature. He was the word like one of his illustrated words was unfortunate. So, what is fortunate but beautiful? See, every time you ask for service, it's unfortunate. Mr. Hugo, we can't help you with this. But his point of view was we can't do something. So unfortunately, there is not to stop me. So slides. And my dad asked me to save him. There was this one request that we done. He's been saved. I didn't really to the corpse. But I think this is really probably the information. So let's go to the next slide. So this is my dad when he was, if you look at the photo of the left here, he resembles all of us at some point in our childhood and the grandkids as well. Especially if I look at Victor, you can definitely see the bloodline running strong there. There's my grandfather, my grandmother, they were all at the beach on the left of the photo on the right. And there you see Tisha and my dad. So here's some more photos of Tisha and my dad. And Tisha had something that she wanted to share. This is what Tisha wrote. To Martin, my brother, we were taken so suddenly that it seemed so unreal. We had our differences, but I still love you with the love of the Lord. I still remember how you as a young boy nearly burned down Mommy's house when you set the curtains on fire. Smiley face. And when you cut off my doll's hair and promised me it will grow again. Laughing face. It was nice to have an older brother to whom I could run, and if somebody wanted to bully me. There were good times and there were bad times, but I choose to remember the good times. This is not farewell, but till we meet again. Love you, Boots. Letitia, your loving sister. XXX heart, smiling face with little hearts around it, two little hearts, and a cross in that little box. Right. So in this slide, you can see my dad and Tisha again. If you're wondering why my dad's face is so naughty, he's busy pinching her while the photo's been taken. And that was his sense of humor. Here's some more photos of them. My dad was always embarrassed about his thin legs, but he was a Boy Scout, and he was very good at a lot of stuff. He could fix things. He was very good with his hands. He was very good with doing things in nature and working with fire and so on. And yeah, I'll still tell more stories about that later on. Here's Tisha, my dad again. And on the right hand side is Paul Denny and my dad. Paul and my dad were friends while they were young. And Paul also left a message. So this is the message from Paul. On this day, a sad moment, but reflection of our dear friendship, the passing Martin. We were in different schools. Martin went to Randfontein High, and I was in Carlton Jones. Our friendship began when we met at a party at the Donaldson Dam, or the Blow Dump, for those who know Western area. Our friendship grew from there. Both of us enjoyed our 50cc bikes. Martin being a Suzuki fan and myself a Yamaha fan. One day we went to Fentus Post Mine. To think of those mine on our bikes racing all the time. I passed Martin on my bike and getting a big grin on my face. The next quarter I couldn't make the bend and plowed into the felt, just missing 2 trees. This was very amusing to Martin, that he was laughing so much that he fell off his bike. It was good times. Both of us were doing our app shit at Live on Mine, having good memories, both qualified. Martin and his family left for Richards Bay. We lost contact for 45 years, but his sister found me on Facebook. We renewed our friendship. My dear friend, rest in peace until we meet again. Your buddy, Paul Delaney. So he didn't stick with his 50cc bikes. He moved on to a bigger bike later on in life. He got himself a Suzuki Katana. If you guys ever watched the movie The Silver Dream Racer with David Essex, David Essex rode this exact bike, and it was the fastest bike on the road at that time. And he did like to race it, as my mom would attest. But looking at my dad, I think he was much more good looking than David Essex. As you can see from this photo, David Essex has a very big head, something on top of it, and very small shoulders, and he's half the size almost. And also, one thing you'll notice is, especially in all these photos, my dad was very stylish, and he was always, he was like neat to a T. So much so that we joked at one point that he irons his socks and underpants. Yeah, but most of these pictures he looks kind of like a model. So in this photo, he's modeling at the karate farm. He was very much into karate. He really liked to fight, and trouble attracted him. And I remember one story with my brother Neil. They were at a pub in Belleville, and where there were gambling machines, and there was a cage fighter there, hogging 3 gambling machines, and this guy was actually causing trouble at the place, but everybody was too scared to mess with him. And I think my dad was about 50 at that point, and he told my brother, this cage fighter thinks he's going to take me out. And anyway, so he sorted the cage fighter out, and they bought him some drinks, and he was really happy with it. That's just one of the stories that we made. So this is where I started riding motorbike. You see there, and the scooter. That was also the last time probably I rode a motorbike. Although both my brothers are bikers now, so maybe we get that from my dad. There my dad is. Tasha, is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Tasha and my dad in Richards Bay. My dad loved Richards Bay. He said to me oftentimes that Richards Bay was some of the best times of his life, and that he'd run on the beach and he would shout and say, "I'm young." He really, really enjoyed being young. Not so much being old, but those were good times for him. So here's my dad with a fishing caught. You can see he's gone fishing, but he still looks like he's modeling. And there he's also playing guitar. My dad also played piano quite well. Nobody taught him to do it, but it was
Penny whistle.
And penny whistle. Yeah, he was really talented. All-rounder kind of guy. Very clever. At this point in his life, he was very young, but he had a house and he had things quite sorted out. I don't think many young people that age today have it together like he did. And then there were 2. Neil came along. That photo, you'll see a lot of these photos with that house in the background. That was my grandparents' house. And my dad really loved us. And it wasn't just us. Is that Darren?
That's Darren.
There's Darren, who came along as well. Emil and I we spent a lot of time growing up with my dad. I think it's something that Darren missed out on. But did get to know my dad a bit later in life. But one memory I remember about my dad was that he lay on the bed with his arms stretched out, and I lay on the one arm. And my brother on the other arm. And it just felt so good. So there's our family photo, probably one of the last. Life happens, and my parents got divorced, and it was many years, and I saw my dad again. Oh, the moustache. So he was really rocking the moustache. It's probably one of his really bad fashion choices. But he was really impressed with it. This I pulled from one of his ID cards at a company called Metal Box, where he was working as a technician. And he's doing really well. They're fleeing all over the country with it. So this was my 21st. My dad and I are doing a Macarena. This was quite an event. Both sides of my family got together, and everybody was doing Macarena. Even my mom's dad, my Frank. But he couldn't see, so he was doing a Scottish jig. But everybody was really enjoying it. It was a good day. I went to my dad when I was about 18 to go live with him. And at that time, I was really quite lost. He tried to get me to mow the lawn. And he came there one day and he asked me, why aren't you mowing the lawn? So I said to him, no, I'm scared I'm going to go over the lawnmower cord and electrocute myself. So he gave me a way that I could hold the lawnmower cord in one arm like this and push with the other hand so that I could mow the lawn. And he also just taught me a lot of practical things, how to fix things and so on. He also put me in university at that time. My grandmother also put money towards it. And I was just partying the year away. So I remember the one time he came to visit me, and he came there. My room was an absolute mess, and I wasn't doing well at school. And he wanted to throttle me, but I wouldn't let him behind the security gate. And he always tells me he came there with a 6-pack of beer and some money, and he thought he was going to do a good thing. When he saw that, he was not impressed. But it was a tough time for him. He did well, and he'd go up and down the whole time. He just struggled. But there were some good things, good times there as well. So this is my dad and Celeste. I think if I look at their relationship, my dad really had an awesome relationship with them. They had a lot of fun together. It was a bit controversial, but my dad, that's him. But they were two peas in a pod. If my dad got into a fight, Celeste would jump in with him, as small as she was. And she always used to ask him, how much do you love me? And he'd hold his fingers like 1 inch wide. And he says, so much. And she says, how can you say so much? And he says, yes, but there's so many germs in between my fingers. And anyway, Celeste has something that she also wanted to share. She said, hi Martin, it's such a sad day for myself, your family and all your friends. Can't believe you are gone. My condolences to everyone, especially to Emil, little Martin and Darren. May you rest in peace, and if you see Wendy up there, give her a big hug for me. You helped me through her death and stood by me. But I'd like to mention the good times too, especially the ones where all your children were there and we were Brian, his best hobby. I remember sitting around the pool and you and your children were all having a burping competition. We had such fun times. I'll miss you forever and will always be your little honey bunch of stinkweeds. Thanks, Celeste, for adding this 40 minutes to my dad in his life. Yeah, this gives me screen. My dad was really broken when my grandfather died. Um, and Celeste also helped him get through it. So Celeste and my dad lived in Wales, and things didn't work out with him. My dad came back. He stayed by Tisha, and then eventually he stayed by me. And things happened, and this is him at Glenda's house. Glenda has been a really good friend in the last few years, and I don't know what he would have done without Glenda, to be honest. There's my dad in little Emil. I couldn't find a picture of my dad and Victor. I couldn't really find one somewhere. But he really loved his grandkids, and this last year on Victor's birthday, he sent him a message, and Emil sent him a lot of hearts back, and to him it meant the world. Yeah, so my dad was stayed with Glenda through COVID, and he used to smoke at that time, and he went to one of the guys that was selling cigarettes, and the guy wanted to charge him something ridiculous for one packet, and he got so cross he quit smoking, and ever since then he hasn't been smoking. He was while he stayed by Glenda, he was saving up all his money that he was spending on smokes to buy stuff. Let's see where we go next. Yeah, this is my and Natalie's wedding. We had a really good time that day. And on the right hand side, you can see he's pulling my beard. I thought that was funny. But yeah, he was a funny character. You could sense it. Yeah, him and I fought a lot, but at least we stuck together. So after staying by Glenda, we actually bought a property that we thought the government was going to build a house for him. But it was a bit of a pipe dream, and eventually we decided to develop the property. And this was his home for 2 years. He was on Sasa, and he didn't have a lot of money. But his words to me was it was his little home, and he was grateful for it. He really enjoyed it. So our plan was to build a house where we could stay, but eventually I got really creative, and it cost so much money that we realized that we couldn't do that. It was a big disappointment for me. This was my dad, myself, and Tony. But Tony is my dad's cousin, and he got us a property. For those of you who don't know, Tony is a cunning word. It's like really huge work ethic with a heart of gold. Thanks for being there for us, Tony. Really appreciate it. This was a funny Christmas photo with Natalie and Jackie, my dad and myself. The yeah, it's good times. It was a very fun Christmas. Here's my dad in the house. He did stay there for a little while, and he really wanted me to use wood up on those floors, and I did not want to do it. But he wouldn't let up. Eventually, I couldn't do it. So he could convince you. He convinced Glenda to build a house as well in Kleinby. And well, we wouldn't have built this house either if we hadn't gone down that path. But it really has turned into a blessing for us. And Glenda, your house is really the money you put in, you're getting so much more value out of it. It was a good decision. Enjoy your house. And here's my dad at the camp where he stayed. The last camp he stayed was PJ Faber, eh? And there's a lot of people that stay there that are on Sasa, but it's like everybody there's really such a cool, tight knit community. So shout out to everyone who's been from there. And everybody really looked out for my dad there. And there was a lot of fun. There was these little bokkies there and these pigs, right? And there's all kinds of little goats. I remember he told me about the one story where I'm not sure if it was a sheep or goats that came into the tent and ate his oats and his potatoes. Yeah, so so he said he was so cross with them, but he also loved them. I mean, to end off, my dad posted this 2 weeks before he died. This is my brother's. This is his legacy. Psalm 127, verse 3 to 5 says, Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward, like arrows in the hand of a warrior. So are the children of one's youth. That is the man who has a quiver full of them. I'll leave it at that. So I just wanted to say that in closing, that my dad was a difficult person. Let's not joke around that. If you knew him growing up, he was very obstinate and he had his way of doing things, and it was his way and he would carry on until you agree with him or not. And him and I, as I said earlier, we fought a lot. But, if I say it was difficult, it's actually something in our family. We are all difficult. We are all obstinate. And we really need to learn to look past people's faults and to forgive. And when we forgive, just to forget as well. Not to bring up things of the past and stand on our own self-righteousness. And I think it was very sad for me to see at the end of this day how lonely he felt. Even though a lot of it was his own doing. But I also know that in our family that we all broken. And we need to look out for each other and not give up on each other. And I'll leave it at that. I'm really thankful for having had my dad what he brought to my life. I'm thankful for my brothers and for everybody in my family, my mom. And yeah, and I want to say thanks, Glenda, for being such a good friend to me all these years. I don't know what he would have done if he didn't have you. You really lifted him out of his muck. You were there for him. I'll end there. Pass op my verbintenis.
In Afrikaans.
In Afrikaans, ja.
Vader, dankie vir die voorreg om so met mekaar te kan wees. En ja, ons is diep bewus vandag daarvan, Here, dat ons elkeen hierdie pad geloop. Een of ander tyd, dis onontbeerbaar. Maar ons wil net vir U sê, dankie vir die voorreg vandag. En dat ons in die toekoms ook sal leer om mense te waardeer, veral familie, terwyl hulle lewe. Die goeie dinge raak sien terwyl hulle lewe. Ons is geneig om altyd die mooi goed te raak te sien na die persoon gesterf. Ons moet regtig fokus op mekaar se goeie punte en mekaar se goeie punte sterk maak of sterker maak. Dat ons heeltemal ontslae raak met die sterke punte wat ons het in ons Vader. Maar dankie vir die wonderlike voorreg vandag. Dat ons hier uitgaan vaar met hernieuwde denken en dat ons regtig nie bewus daarvan sal wees dat ons gewoon die pad gaan loop. En as daar probleme in ons lewe is met familielede, dat ons regtig sal regmaak. Nader mekaar beweeg en sal besef, ons is familie. En o ja, ons is toch so geneig om ons fout te raak te sien. Maar nie ons eie nie. Help ons om te fokus en om op ander mense se goeie punte. Ons eer U vir die wonderlike voorreg om te lewe. Ons eer U vir die wonderlike voorreg om gesond te wees, Vader. En dankie vir alles wat ons vandag in ons lewe het, vir baie van die mense wat jy het, dit is 'n familie. Amen.